the KZ-PR2. Overall build quality, we got a metal faceplate with a clear shell. You can see the planar driver in there. It is a proper, true planar driver in there. And yeah, I actually have a different mesh on here. I've done some modding to this particular set. I've tried throwing some foams in there. I've tried swapping out the filter and stuff. Just, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. But the build quality, the shell itself isn't too bad. The cable is a cheap, whatever cable, no slider, and then right angle termination. Yeah, the cable, yeah, it's not great. It's not amazing, but this is a budget planar, the cheapest, most affordable, true planar driver on the market. So, how does this thing sound? I talked about a little bit how I have modded this IEM. I have put some mesh in there and some different foams, and I've really tried to salvage the set. Stock tuning is a lot for me personally. It's a lot. I found it quite painful in the treble particularly. Other than that, it's good. It has a lot of bite. And so yeah, I don't particularly enjoy listening to this IEM. And that's why I have tried modding it, tried to get it to a point where I find it more enjoyable, but yeah, I can't fix that treble. I don't know what it is. I just can't fix it. So yeah, the bass is fine. It's planar bass. It's good. I like planar bass personally. The mids are okay until you get to the upper mids. It is pretty boosted in the upper mids, smidge over Harmon, and you can it's there. My mods did take care of that a little bit, but yeah, it's just when you get into the treble, it just has way too much bite, more bite than any other planar I've ever tried. Yeah, like the Z12 slash S12, it has a lot of bite. This has more bite. The Hook X has a lot of bite. This has more bite. Like the S12, Z12, and Hook X, like those are borderline painful for me as they are. This is even more painful for me personally. So I don't particularly like this IEM. That being said, it's hard to also not recommend. It's like this weird thing because if you're willing to EQ it, if you're willing to take down that treble in EQ, it is a planar for under $100. Like it is, there is a value to that. It's just without EQ, I can't listen to these like for more than 3 songs. It actually hurts me. Like pain. So if you are willing to EQ, I do recommend these. If you're willing to EQ, these are just as good as any other planar, honestly. But if you're not willing to EQ, my favorite planars are the Heyday and the MT Pro, which are wildly different tunings. The MT Pro is like a very bassy, it still has that treble sparkle, but it has so much bass that kind of just makes up for it. And then the Heyday is just beautifully tuned planar IEM. So yeah, yeah, essentially. So in the context of music, it really comes out with, cymbals, even vocals have a weird aspect to them with this IEM, guitars, everything. It's just too harsh for me personally. But yeah, if you're willing to EQ, I recommend these, and I think that they are an awesome buy as a budget planar when you add EQ into the mix. Without EQ, I don't know, I don't know. Like I couldn't listen to these loud. I couldn't listen to these at an acceptable volume because I feared hearing loss. That's how much treble these have. So yeah, overall I can kind of half recommend them if you are willing to, listen to them a little bit quieter, or if you're like very not treble sensitive, or you're willing to EQ, absolutely. These are an amazing option because it's a cheap planar, and just, enjoy them with EQ. Without EQ, they're just too bitey for me personally. So yeah. Yeah. I already filmed this review. I then deleted the review because I thought maybe I had a botched set, but I emailed KZ. They said, no, it's within tolerance. So if it's within tolerance and KZ says, yeah, this is what it's supposed to sound like, then this is it. So normally I would talk about some tracks and stuff, but I've modded it, so I can't really listen to it in the stock form anymore. I'd have to reverse all the mods. Essentially my mods just took down the upper mids a little bit. But yeah, I couldn't tame that treble no matter what I tried. So yeah, it's like a half recommendation. It's really good if you are willing to EQ it, or if you're not treble sensitive, like myself. But if you're treble sensitive and you're not willing to EQ, this is pain. This is a lot of pain. So if you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time.